Good day, colleagues from all over the world, and welcome to the launch of this new and first ever WHO report on corporal punishment of children. I'm speaking a bit slowly because I want people to be able to join gradually into the session. We're delighted to have so many of you who registered, I think over 1,200, and people are gradually coming in. But good day to all over the world. My name is Etienne Krug, and I'm director of the new WHO Department for Health Determinants, Promotion, and Prevention. And I'm excited about the event today. It's a topic very close to my heart: children, violence against children, and more specifically, the form of violence against children that is the most widespread, corporal punishment. I've been in WHO for a long time, and I remember when I started, it was very difficult for us to even speak about corporal punishment of children. It was already recognized as a moral issue, as a human rights issue, but the evidence on the public health impact of violence against children wasn't very clear at the time. We now have much more evidence, and I'm very excited that today we are launching WHO's first ever report on the public health impact of corporal punishment of children. We hope it will go a long way in raising attention to the importance of the issue, how widespread it is, but also how negative its impact is on health, while in fact it has no benefits for discipline, which is its first intent. I'm very happy that the topic has largely evolved over the years. We have, since Sweden banned, the first country of banning it in 79, we have now 68 governments who have banned corporal punishment in all settings, in schools as well as in homes, which is a big progress, but of course, still very far from where we want to be, which is all countries banning corporal punishment. Today, we'll hear from countries who have banned corporal punishment, and I really want to warmly welcome the ambassadors of Thailand and Finland, who will share the experience of their countries. We'll also hear from experts on this topic, and we'll hear from young people who have experienced firsthand corporal punishment and the consequences on their lives. So I'm delighted that my colleague Sabine Rakotonalala will be moderating this event, but also that Brianna Marinas, who has been now for several years a very powerful and motivated advocate for the topic of violence against children, will kick us off with firsthand experiences. Brianna, over to you.
Okay, so hi everyone, and thank you so much at the end for introductions, and just thank you for everyone for the opportunity to be here today. So my name is Brianna Marinas, and I'm the founder of the Global Youth-Led Movement on Ending Violence Against Children. So the short film I'm about to share with you all is very close to my heart and to so many others. As Etienne mentioned, corporal punishment is the most common and socially accepted form of violence against children, and yet it is barely talked about. So about 3 weeks ago, we received over 200 line submissions from people in their late teens to 50s who experienced violent punishment in childhood. Their stories came from every walk of life and from every setting where violence happens: homes, schools, institutions, religious spaces, justice systems, and even child labor workplaces, showing just how far-reaching it really is. So just for context, the film is framed around 3 core themes: how corporal punishment is perceived, how it felt in the moment, and the long-term impact it leaves behind. I chose to title it, But I Grew Up Fine, Didn't I? To challenge the phrase we hear so often, that violent punishment is harmless and even necessary. So coming from the Philippines, I know how deeply normalized these practices are in our communities. And I know that some of you watching today may be here out of curiosity or perhaps still questioning what corporal punishment is wrong. My sincere hope is that this film invites you to pause and to reflect, because what is normalized is not always what's right. And just a quick note before we begin, the film includes graphic descriptions of people's experiences of violent punishment. Many of what you'll hear will be difficult, so please take care of yourself while watching. I hope you guys enjoy. If someone did to me now as an adult what they did to me as a child, it would be called abuse, assault, a crime. But instead, they called it
discipline,
tradition, training.
If I didn't get punished, I would become spoiled.
We either had to accept a beating or face going to hell.
They told me that they loved me, and that's why they had to do this.
They didn't call it abuse.
Not even when I bled.
Not even when I was hit with a cooking stick until it broke on my body.
When I was burned with cigarettes and lighters and given scars that will never fade.
They're my parents. So, regardless of what they do to me, I have to respect them because they have my best interests at heart. Right?
And so I learned to stay quiet, even when it hurt.
My heart raised every time my teacher came into class with a cane.
I wanted to disappear and become invisible so they couldn't hit me.
You could hear it in the footsteps, in the slamming of doors. I would hear my brothers crying in the next room, and I knew I'd be next.
My body froze, even when everything inside me screamed.
When your childhood is violent, you don't just feel it when the buckle breaks your skin. You feel it, the fear, every day, every single day.
It's the confusion when no clear explanation is given.
I was 6. I didn't really know what I did wrong.
I remember holding my breath, hoping it would end.
I remember praying for someone to save me, even though no one ever did.
The humiliation of being hit in front of others, the shame, it's burning more than the pain.
I have a vivid memory of putting on layers of pants before beatings. At one point in life, it was a part of my sibling and I's daily routine to layer up after my father would come home from work.
It was a norm in my community, but no one ever really talked about it.
But I grew up fine, didn't I?
Even today, I flinch when someone raises their hand too fast.
My body remembers before my mind does.
I still say sorry for the things I didn't do, things I have never done.
I'm still learning that being quiet doesn't make me safe.
Sometimes I look in the mirror and I just feel tamed, like something inside me was dimmed before it even had the chance to grow.
It's made me scared of the people who tell me they love me, because I know they can hurt me so much.
I find myself normalizing physical harm in intimate partner relationships, telling myself that because my father was abusive, by default all future men in my life, by nature, are. That maybe I didn't deserve better.
I struggle with anxiety, with depression.
Sometimes I feel the urge to spank kids when they do wrong.
And I hate it. I don't want to repeat the cycle, but that reaction lives in my brain like muscle memory. Violence feels so deeply ingrained in my blood. It scares me. No one ever told me how else to act. Anger is the only thing I know.
Now I'm determined to be the parent that I needed when I was a little girl. My proudest achievement is that our daughter feels loved, protected, and safe, exactly as she and every other child deserves.
Now I lead and help others, but still I carry a pain that never healed.
Our generation has grown up, and we've become adults ourselves, but
we still call it discipline.
We still let it happen.
But if it's so normal, why does it still hurt?
What a film. What a film. Thank you, Brianna, for your boundless energy and unwavering commitment. Really, also thank you to all the people who shared their very personal insights in this incredible film. I'm sure, like me, many of you are on the verge of tears. It really reinforces the importance of anchoring always our conversations in the testimonials of those who have this lived experience. So we have the science, but let's remember these faces and stories behind the lived experience. And my name is Sabine Rakotomalala. I work for the World Health Organization's Violence Prevention Unit, and it's a genuine pleasure for me to moderate the event today. I've been working in this field for over 25 years, and it's wonderful to bring together fresh science and outstanding champions that have been working on this issue around this report launch. Please check in the chat link the reports. And then a couple of small notes on housekeeping before we move ahead. As Etienne mentioned, the entirety of the program today is being translated into 7 languages, so the 6 UN languages plus Brazilian Portuguese. So please make sure to hit the little globe if you want to listen to the different languages. There will only be 1 video in Spanish from the Costa Rican government. Also, the event is being recorded, and we'll have at the end of the event an interactive component with a question, and we'll ask you to vote for which question you'd like to for us to propose to our panelists. Without further ado, I really want to move forward with the presentation of the headlines of the WHO report on ending violence against children, the public health impact. The report is being presented by wonderful ex-colleagues and the lead authors, Sonia Vojito and Bess Herbert. They together have 5 decades of experience as child rights experts and have led the initiative to end corporal punishment, which was housed at WHO for the past few years. And we look forward to hearing from them on the headline findings of the report. Over to you, Bess.
Thank you so much, Sabine and colleagues. I'm very pleased.
Bess, you're on mute.
Oh.
No, I can hear her.
I'm not on mute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you,
Okay.
Beth.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much for this opportunity to present.
You're still on mute, Bess. We can't hear you.
I think it's yours, Sabine. We can hear her.
I think
we can hear Sabine.
Yeah. So it's really humbling to follow that incredibly powerful film and remember that while we have huge prevalence figures to talk about, the experience is felt at such an individual level. So important to remember that. So I'm just going to share the highlights of the report now. Where are we? Here we are. If you can see this. Oh, it takes a little time. So yeah, I'm very pleased to present the highlights of this report with my colleague Sonia Vojito. We also worked closely with Alex Butchart and Stephanie Burrows, and also very grateful for the review and contributions of many leading international academics and practitioners. The report was produced through a comprehensive deck review of global and national primary sources and scholarly literature related to corporal punishment prevalence, impacts, and risk factors. The highlights of the report are that corporal punishment is highly prevalent globally in homes, schools, and other settings of children's lives, and that there is overwhelming scientific evidence that corporal punishment of children carries multiple risks of harm and has no benefits for children, parents, or societies. There are strong associations between corporal punishment and a wide range of negative impacts across the lifespan. But thankfully, a growing number of countries have prohibited corporal punishment, but it is clear that law reform alone isn't enough to eliminate it. So in conclusion, corporal punishment is a global public health concern. And I'm just going to go into some of those headlines in a little bit more detail. So global prevalence. So the data tells us that huge numbers of children regularly experience corporal punishment in many settings of their lives. UNICEF mixed data tells us that 1.2 billion children aged 0 to 18 years experience corporal punishment on a monthly basis. We also know that prevalence among very young children is also very, very high. So UNICEF report that 330 million children under 5, in other words, half of them, are regularly physically punished. We also know that around 17% of all children are regularly subjected to severe corporal punishment. For example, being hit on the head, face, or ears, hit hard or repeatedly. We also know that globally, school corporal punishment is very, very high. So meta-analyses of studies carried out between 1980 and 2017 identified high levels of corporal punishment at both primary and high school levels. So in Africa and Central America, the lifetime prevalence of school corporal punishment was 70%. Lower rates were found in other regions. For example, the Western Pacific region had a lifetime prevalence of around 25%. Turning now to the impact of corporal punishment, we have at least around 50 to 60 years of extensive research on the effects of corporal punishment carried out across all regions of the world. And we can really say with a lot of confidence that no study has found positive effects of corporal punishment on children's development or well-being. In fact, there is considerable evidence of the negative consequences of corporal punishment. Of course, we know about the direct physical harm, the injuries caused from being hit with hands, objects, kicked, burned, bitten, or other forms of physical force. But we also have considerable evidence of the impaired cognitive and socio-emotional development impacts, including confusion, hyperactivity, smaller vocabularies, slower cognitive development. There is huge evidence of the harm to mental health, including anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, hopelessness, hostility, and emotional instability, with these effects continuing into adulthood. There is considerable association with behavioral problems, antisocial behavior and aggression. For example, bullying, lying, truancy, disruption in school, risky sexual behavior among young adults is all more likely among children who've experienced corporal punishment. Corporal punishment is associated with damaged parent-child relationships, including fear and avoidance of the parent, and poor family relationships in adolescence. Physical punishment is associated with impaired learning and lower educational outcome, associated with increased school dropout and lower school achievement. And it's connected with greater approval and use of multiple types of violence across society, for just as one example, associated with higher rates of intimate partner violence. And taken together, this all adds up to huge economic and other costs to society, including huge burdens on health, justice, and child protection services. I'm just going to hand over to my colleague Sonia Vejito to talk about the risks and protective factors.
Thank you, Bess, and hello, everyone. So we're going to talk about the risk and protective factors. We're talking there about individual and contextual risk factors. We will start with sex and gender. So we know that corporal punishment affects both boys and girls. But you will see in the report that some studies found that male teachers, for example, tend to perpetrate more corporal punishment against boys. We have disabilities as well. There's consistent evidence showing that children with disabilities are at greater risk of suffering corporal punishment. And in the report, we have a study about American schools showing that children with disabilities were over 50% more likely to be subjected to corporal punishment than those without disabilities. Another risk factor is the age of the child. We know that children aged between 2 and 4 years are more likely to be exposed to physical punishment, even though they are more vulnerable. We also have the intergenerational transmission of corporal punishment as a risk factor. So there's now strong association between experiencing corporal punishment as a child and endorsing its use against children as an adult. And in the report, we have an example from Colombia as well. Other risk factor, contextual risk factors, we have children living in a household with other forms of violence. We know that children living in households where there is interpersonal violence, domestic violence, and so on, they are at greater risk of suffering corporal punishment. And we have more examples in the report as well. Corporal punishment and adverse parental experiences. Children whose parents are in difficult situations like depression, alcohol, or drug abuse are at greater risk of being subjected to corporal punishment. Another contextual situation is poverty and low income. Research suggests that children in communities surviving on low incomes may be at higher risk. Another aspect is racism, social, social class, and then discrimination. We know that Black students in the US school as well, US schools are more likely to be subjected to corporal punishment. And we have Black South African students. A study found that they represented 84% of cases of violence against children, of corporal punishment. Now we move to the reflection. Next slide, please. We know that the UN Committee on the Right of the Child requires that all state parties prohibit and eliminate all forms of corporal punishment. So we're now talking about law reform, banning corporal punishment. To date, as Etienne said, we have 68 states that have achieved full prohibition of corporal punishment in all settings, including in the home. We're hoping to have very soon more states, including Switzerland and the Czech Republic. So this is to set the context of our key messages. So beyond law reform, because as we talk about law reform, what next? How do we eliminate corporal punishment? So the key messages of this report and suggestion is that law reform is necessary, but insufficient to prevent child corporal punishment. It is important to foster prevention, intervention, to mitigate the risk factors for child corporal punishment at all levels. A suggestion from the report is that we could use the INSPIRE framework, which is an effective evidence-based package, which could be used as prevention intervention, could be used to prevent corporal punishment of children. This has been used to reduce child maltreatment, and it's effective. And another message is that all the prevalence and consequences and risk factors which were in this report, they aim to support intervention in each country. So this is our advocacy message, that corporal punishment is a global public health concern. There is overwhelming scientific evidence that corporal punishment of children carries multiple risks of harm and has no benefits for children, parents, or societies. So if you want to download the report.
Thank you so much, Sonia, for this wonderful, and Bess, for this wonderful presentation. I want to move on swiftly to two countries that are real champions on this issue. Finland, the second country to ban corporal punishment ever, and Thailand, the most recent country that has banned corporal punishment. So let's hear first from true pioneer. Finland banned corporal punishment in 1983. We're very delighted to welcome Ambassador Heidi Schroeder-Fox, who's the permanent representative of Finland to the UN. And we look forward to hearing from you. Over to you, Ambassador.
Thank you. Thank you very much, distinguished participants and dear colleagues. It's such a privilege and a real pleasure to be with you today and to launch this landmark WHO.
Ambassador?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, Ambassador, we can hear you. Please proceed.
Okay. All right, so I will continue. So just to say that Finland really warmly welcomes this important publication, which provides compelling evidence that corporal punishment is not only harmful, but entirely ineffective. It's a matter of public health, it's a matter of child rights, and it's a matter of human dignity. And I think this was so evident in the powerful testimonials that we heard earlier in the beginning of our meeting. So as was mentioned, Finland introduced the full ban on corporal punishment in 1983, and we were the second country in the world to do so. But yet we have learned that legislation alone is not enough, as was also mentioned just in this report. Despite our early legal reforms, violence against children continues to occur. And more concerning for us still is that recent data suggests that public attitudes may be shifting unfavorably. A 2021 study revealed that a slight decline in awareness of the ban, alongside increased tolerance of both physical and emotional violence. And so this really reminds us that vigilance and sustained public engagement are critical. Robust data is the foundation, of course, of sound policy, and Finland employs a range of tools to monitor violence against children, including the National Child Victim Survey and the School Health Promotion Study. These instruments provide invaluable insights into children's lived experiences and also inform both national and local responses. By integrating study data with statistics from law enforcement, child protection services, and the judiciary, we are able to track trends and foster coordinated and cross-sectional action. And beyond legislation, we must invest in long-term collaborative efforts. Finland's action plan for nonviolent childhood and our national child strategy reflect our enduring commitment to safeguarding children. And these initiatives bring together ministries, professionals, and civil society to ensure that every child grows up in a safe and nurturing environment. Worryingly, corporal punishment remains the most socially accepted form of violence against children in the world. This has to end. Finland remains steadfast in its commitment to this cause and stands ready to support global efforts to protect every child's right to a life from violence. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador, both for your powerful remarks today and for your decades of long leadership on the agenda. Finland continues to be a remarkable champion for children, and we just cannot thank you enough. And I'm now delighted to welcome Ambassador Usana Beran-Anda, Permanent Representative to the UN for the Government of Thailand and the 68th and most recent member state to ban corporal punishment in all settings. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sabine, and good afternoon from Geneva to all the participants. And first of all, I would like to congratulate the WHO for the first ever report on corporal punishment, which recognizes the true nature of such punishment as a form of violence against children. And as it is clearly indicated in the report, it is also a global public health concern. We believe that children have the right to grow in a positively safe and nurturing environment. Scientific evidence also shows that corporal punishment does not help discipline children. Like many others, and follow the footsteps of Finland, Thailand used to have a similar saying that spare the rod, spoil the children. We think that if we want to discipline children, we should not spoil them. Today, we all recognize that such a belief is misguided and is now obsolete. Therefore, Thailand fully prohibits all forms of corporal punishment of children. We made an amendment to Section 1567 of the Civil and Commercial Code, which is now explicitly bans all forms of physical and psychological violence and punishments against children. The amendment came into force in March this year. It reflects our commitment to upholding children's rights and fully aligns with the Convention on the Rights of the Child. We also recognize that not only the law needs to be changed, but more importantly, people's attitude and beliefs also need to be changed. Thailand therefore encourages positive parenting through a multi-stakeholder and multi-sectoral approach. We engage all parties in order to achieve integrated outcomes. many government and non-government agencies actively engage in re-educating the public on this matter. Those are actively involved include the Ministry of Public Health, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Social Development and Human Security, as well as the Thai Health Promotion Foundation, to name but a few. And with such collective effort, it proved that progress is possible. Even long before the change in our law, we have seen a steady decrease in violent discipline over the past decade through changes in people's perception and improved public understanding on the issue. Since 2013, the Thai cabinet also approved the Early Childhood Education Strategic Plan, which also contained changes in our proverb, which used to say, "รักวัวให้ผูก, รักลูกให้ตี," which has a direct translation, love your cow, keep them, love your children, spank them. And according to that strategic plan, we changed that proverb into รักวัวให้ผูก, รักลูกให้กอด, which is love the cow, keep them, and love your children, hug them. So that will encourage a shift away from the tough love attitude. So we also emphasize on positive parenting activities. We have those kind of activities very frequently that include what we call the Triple P course, Positive Parenting Program, which is commonly provided by health facilities to other activities, including information, dissemination and education programs for all parties to achieve a better understanding on child development. And earlier this year, in February, Thailand also held our second Positive Parenting Fun Run in Chiang Mai province. This event was very popular and successful. The objectives are to strengthen family bonds and foster the development of emotional intelligence in children, as well as promote positive parenting practices. The key message sent out during the event was for parents to recognize the importance of hugging, praising, speaking, and listening to their children. These are important tools for positive parenting. So as we celebrate our achievement, I would like to point out that our success is due to strong collaborative work, engaging all sectors in the society. It is not an overnight solution of legal changes alone, but also a delicate process to gentle re-education and community involvement in the whole process to ensure that the achievement will be real, positive, long-lasting, and sustainable. Thank you.
I love the shift from hitting to hugging. Thank you so much, Ambassador. Thank you to both ambassadors. We warmly welcome your leadership and your partnership on this important agenda. And we now move on to two fellow member state champions, Costa Rica and Kenya. Over the past 9 months, it's been incredible. The governments of Costa Rica and Kenya have been leading this effort across Geneva to create collective and strong political space and support for ending corporal punishment, and are proposing a first ever World Health Assembly resolution on ending violence, on ending corporal punishment, banning corporal punishment. First, we're delighted to hear remarks from Costa Rica and then from Kenya. We are moving on to remarks from Her Excellency Dr. Mary Angermuller, who is the Vice President and Minister of Health for Costa Rica. Please note that she makes her remarks in Spanish, so use the interpretation option at the bottom of your screen. Remember, it's AI interpretation, but please hit the little globe at the bottom of your screen in Spanish, and make sure you mute original video, otherwise you'll be hearing the two together. Thank you.
En el lanzamiento global del primer informe sobre el castigo corporal de la Organización Mundial de la Salud, quiero reiterar el compromiso de nuestro país con el cuidado y la protección de la vida y la integridad de todas las personas, especialmente nuestros chiquitillos y también los adolescentes. Costa Rica cuenta con el Código de la Niñez y la Adolescencia, el cual establece, entre otros principios, el derecho de las personas menores de edad a que se respete su integridad física, psíquica y moral. Asimismo, el Código de Familia, que en su artículo 143 aborda la responsabilidad de las madres y padres, subrayando la importancia de proteger a los hijos e hijas de todo tipo de violencia. Desde el Ministerio de Salud, como institución encargada de velar por el bienestar de la población, se exige a nuestros profesionales de la salud a reportar situaciones de violencia infantil, incluyendo el castigo físico y mucho más si es reiterado. Además, se vela porque ningún funcionario aplique tratos humillantes ni correctivos físicos a personas menores de edad y se promueve políticas de cero tolerancia a la violencia en la atención de nuestros servicios materno-infantiles, así como pediátricos. Nuestro compromiso es claro: trabajar por una Costa Rica libre de violencia contra la niñez y la adolescencia. Hoy hacemos un llamado en toda la población para seguir fomentando el respeto por los demás y actuar con firmeza ante cualquier situación de violencia. Costa Rica celebra el lanzamiento de este primer informe que impulsa a los países a fortalecer su sistema de protección infantil.
Thank you very much to Vice President Anger Muller and her wonderful colleagues in Geneva and Capital for their incredible leadership. And I really want to make a special shout out, especially to the ambassador here in Geneva of Costa Rica, who is really bringing other ambassadors and other countries on board, along with the Kenyan mission on this important topic. Now we have the honor of hearing from Costa Rica's partner in crime, as we would say, in this historic effort, His Excellency Dr. Aden Duale, who's the Cabinet Secretary for Health in the government of Kenya.
Today marks a historic first in the 78 years of the World Health Organization. Never before has a report been published that makes the unequivocal case for corporal punishment as a global health concern. This moment is long overdue, and yet it is right on time. The government of Kenya is proud to work with WHO and our esteemed partner, the government of Costa Rica, in advancing the global effort to end corporal punishment of children. Since the beginning of this year, we have taken bold steps together, delivering the first ever statement on corporal punishment to the WHO Executive Board, followed by a shared call to action at the Human Rights Council and a notable WHA side event on the issue. We have not worked alone. We have brought together a powerful group of champions, many represented at this event today. We thank you and we need you. Our journey in Kenya began well before this year. It has taken time and courage. We abolished corporal punishment in schools in 2001, a bold step that sparked national debate. Some were uncertain, others resistant, but we chose to act because we saw the cost of inaction in the eyes and lives of our children. Since then, we have strengthened legal protection through our 2010 Constitution, and more recently, through the Child Act of 2022, which reaffirms the right of every child to protection from all forms of violence. But we know legislation is only part of the answer. Kenya is working to build a culture where respect replaces fear and where discipline is rooted in understanding. Across our nation, we are rolling out positive discipline, an entirely new approach to supporting children, parents, and teachers. We're moving towards discipline that builds, not breaks, our boys and girls. Today, 67 countries have joined us in prohibiting corporal punishment. A further 8 governments committed to legislate on the issue at the Global Ministerial Conference on Ending Violence Against Children last year. Momentum is growing, change is happening, millions more children are being protected. Now our collective responsibility is clear. We must ensure that children are given the same legal protection from assault as adults and nothing less. To the countries who have already acted, we recognize your leadership. And to those yet to begin or yet to finish this journey, we extend a hand of solidarity. Join us. I am not for the hyperbole, but on this issue, at this time, we have a chance to change history. If we stand firm and stand together, we can secure our first ever WHO resolution on corporal punishment, signaling that children deserve the same protection from assaults as adults. With this resolution and throughout our daily acts, we can ensure billions of boys and girls will live safer, kinder, and more just life. Kenya stands proudly with Costa Rica, with the allies, and with every child as we begin this next chapter together. Thank you very much.
I'm sure for many of you, like for me, this is almost a dream come true to hear from Finland and Thailand, and then a huge note of gratitude to Costa Rica and Kenya. It's such a privilege for the WHO to be providing technical assistance to your efforts in securing a resolution on corporal punishment. So thank you. We're going to move on to another testimonial. We look forward to hearing from Dinma Nmale Afam. Dinma is the founder and a strong woman of a Nigerian NGO called Teach with Ease. She'll share her personal story and the impact of violent punishment in childhood. Over to you, Dinma.
Thank you very much. Is my voice loud and clear? Okay. So my name is Chidimma Nmale Afam, and I'm from Nigeria. 24 years ago, at just 9 years old, I was accused of stealing a cup of water, a glass of water, barely up to a glass. And this senior student was determined that she was going to get the truth out of me. And because I believed that crying was an admission of guilt, I refused to cry. And she had a stronger resolve. She was resolved to make me cry no matter how long it took. And she kept hitting me until one blow on my eye sent me crashing to the ground. And like a wounded animal, I cried. I screamed. And she felt nothing. Instead, my screams made her more infuriated. And she kept hitting me and shouting, "I thought you said you would not cry. I thought you said you would not cry. I thought you said you would not cry." I lay there weeping until a few of her classmates came in and rescued me from her. One of them took me aside and asked me where my bed was, and I pointed it to her. She gave me painkiller and said, "Sorry." And as I lay down on my bed, trying to cover myself with my bedsheet, she told me, "Please do not report her." And in my naivety, I believed that I shouldn't. I cared more about what will happen to her than what will happen to me or what has already happened to me. I knew that if the incident got out, she was going to be punished. And I didn't want that. I didn't want to be the reason a student was suspended or expelled from school. So I kept quiet. Eventually, word did get out, and she was flogged just like me. I was standing right there when she was being hit. And I didn't feel good about it, but there was nothing I could do. If I could not speak for myself, I certainly would not be able to speak for somebody who had hurt me. And we're dealing with the school authorities now, not just a fellow student. Really, I want us to see the patterns. She was flogged just like me. And she admitted, she refused. She was resolved also not to cry. So what we see here is pain being inflicted as punishment. And a child being hardened over time, because when you're used to being flogged, being hit, you learn to hold your tears. You understand that your tears does nothing. So you learn to keep quiet and endure the pain. And while I watched her, it dawned on me really that no one has asked me what happened to your eyes. Not one person, including the school authorities. As long as I could blink, I could open the eye, then I was fine. There was no medical checkup. I was not taken to the hospital. No one showed care. All that matters was punishment. I did something, I was punished. She did something to me, and she was punished. The vicious pattern of violence causes children to lose their voices while repeating the violence meted on them. We lose the need to cry, to complain, or to ask. And I realize now as an adult that one stroke can change a person's life. If the stroke of Cain had hit me in a bad place, just maybe I would be blind in one eye today. And I also realized that I'm lucky that my wounds were only internal. Not every child is that lucky. And when I tell my story, I struggle between shame and anger. Shame that I just let them, and anger that I just let them. I let them steal my voice as a child. And as a parent today, I never want my children to lose their voice. I never want to carry a scar that I gave to them. And I fight every day to uphold my beliefs because not everyone shares my view on nonviolent punishment. But I fight because a child with a voice becomes an adult that can speak up. And I found that Teach with Ease to end corporal punishment in boarding schools, the very system that did try to break me, where so many children live in fear and endure dehumanizing conditions. Corporal punishment is not discipline. It's a universal crime against children. And I stand here as a living proof of the harm it causes. No child should be made to feel powerless, believing their voice holds no power. We can choose to live in our bubbles, believing we do enough by not hitting our own children. But I tell you, until every child is safe, not one of us is safe. The world is one big staring pot, and the hurt and the unhealed will blend with the unhurt. So I urge us all to go spread the message of nonviolent discipline. It is possible. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Dinma. It can't be easy for you to share your story, but we're so grateful that you've shared it with us today and also that you're using your experience to drive change. Please do keep up the important work. And if some of you are not following, or please follow Dinma on social media. It's very impressive. Our last speaker today, with another rousing call to action, is the UN Secretary General's Special Representative on Ending Violence Against Children, Dr. Najat Malamjid. Unfortunately, she's currently on mission, so she has shared this powerful video message to signal her support for this important agenda.
Dear participants, it's a pleasure to join this launch of WHO report on corporal punishment as a public health concern. Corporal punishment is the most common and widely accepted form of violence against children. As highlighted in the report, globally, an estimated 1.2 billion children are subjected to corporal punishment at home each year. We now have decades of evidence that are duly highlighted in the report. Corporal punishment carries multiple risks for children's health, well-being, and development and has no benefits. Corporal punishment brings harm to children, adults, and societies. Research has also shown that positive discipline is effective as children do better when they perceive both firmness and kindness from their parents, teachers, and caregivers. Dear participants, we must acknowledge the progress that has already been achieved. We are seeing a growing momentum worldwide to prohibit corporal punishment in all settings. As of August 2025, 67 states worldwide have legally banned corporal punishment of children in all settings, including in the home. And additional states have expressed their commitment to achieve prohibition of corporal punishment, including through pledges and the endorsement of the call to action at the first Global Ministerial Conference on Ending Violence Against Children in Bogota last year. But more work is needed to achieve prohibition of corporal punishment in all settings, including in the home. Prohibiting corporal punishment in all settings by law is the first step. Legal prohibition of corporal punishment in all settings plays a key role in ensuring a safe, protective, and nurturing environment for children. But law reform is only one part of the process. It is important to complement policy and legal progress with change in cultural attitude and behavior through promoting positive discipline and positive parenting. To this end, it is crucial to mobilize all key stakeholders, including community and faith-based organizations, families, caregivers, teachers, and social workers. And most importantly, we must listen to and involve children and survivors as you are doing today. Dear participants, the societal and legal acceptance of corporal punishment reinforces the idea that a certain degree of violence against children is acceptable. We must be clear, there is no safe level of violence against children. No slap, no hit, no humiliation must ever be justified. Every child has the right to grow up safe, respected, and nurtured, free from violence and fear. This is why the Convention on the Rights of the Child was visionary in prohibiting corporal punishment for children in all its forms. That is why there is a specific SDG indicator 16.2.1 related to physical punishment and/or psychological aggression by caregivers. Ending corporal punishment is essential to keep the promise of the Sustainable Development Goals to end all forms of violence against children by 2030, leaving no child behind. Time is running out. We must act together and faster to increase the growing momentum to end corporal punishment in all settings. Thank you.
Thank you, SRSG. As ever, we can feel your passion and commitment all across the globe and across the internet to protecting children worldwide. It's needed today more than ever. Thank you. So for our final segment, we actually want to hand the floor to you, and we're going to send you questions in the chat function through a poll. And we'd like to ask you to use the like button to upvote your question. While you do that, we'd also like to pass on the floor to our kind ambassador, Mr. Gustavo Galón from the government of Colombia. And so we're hoping to do the two at the same time. Please just complete the poll as you listen to Ambassador Gustavo Galón. Over to the government of Colombia. Helen, do you know whether they're online?
We have sent a link to the ambassador, but I don't believe he is currently online. Perhaps he can signal if he is. If not, we proceed with the questions.
Okay, I suggest we proceed with the questions. Unless the government of Colombia is still able to join, just put your video on and speak up. And if not, then I'm going to ask the first question to Bess and Sonia. So this report makes the case for corporal punishment as a public health concern. What, in your view, are some of the concrete ways that we can translate this message and momentum into action at country level?
Shall I start, Sonia? Or would you like to? I will start. I think what we want to see, number one, is all countries prohibiting corporal punishment. And all that does is clarify that children are protected from violent assault in the same way as adults. So we need law that clarifies that children cannot be violently assaulted. And then we need comprehensive measures that put the law into effect. So we need everyone in the society to understand what the law is, why it's been enacted, and what it means for them. We need training for professionals so that they can implement the law and know how to respond when they see corporal punishment. So including health professionals, care professionals, education professionals, everybody needs to understand what the law is and how you implement that. And then we need a huge amount of support for parents and families in order to adopt non-violent, loving, nurturing ways of raising children. And lots of people don't know about this. And so we need lots of information made available to parents, support for parenting. Parenting is a very challenging job, and we need much more support for that, to assist parents to move to non-violent approaches. Let's see if there's anything Sonia would like to add.
I think you said it all. Can you hear me clearly?
You're quite quiet. Come
Can you
closer.
hear me?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, you said it. I just think maybe also raising awareness should be done at all levels. So it can be at community level, national level, everywhere in the communities, and also involving faith-based organization, religious leaders, community leaders. So everyone is involved. So we have a whole package and involvement. But otherwise, yes, law, yes, but we need more intervention measures, prevention as well. And also, I would say disciplinary sanctions, because when it happens, we also have to be able to, sanction teachers and so on. It's not
Thank you.
punitive, but that's it.
Thank you very much, Sonia. I see that Ambassador Gustavo Galan has joined us. So apologies, we couldn't reach you. So over to you, Ambassador Gustavo Galan, and then Etienne Krug, you can take over straight after.
Thank you, Sabine. I was not in the right channel. But let me say that Colombia recognizes corporal punishment as a violation of children's rights and a public health issue with long-term consequences on mental health and well-being. In 2021, we enacted Law 2089, which prohibits all forms of corporal punishment and promotes positive parenting. Ending violence in children is essential for building peaceful and equitable societies. In this context, Colombia welcomes the launch of the WHO report, Corporal Punishment of Children, the Public Health Impact. It confirms that corporal punishment is the most common form of violence against children worldwide, affecting more than 1.2 billion children annually. Far from being a harmless disciplinary tool, it is strongly associated with long-term harm, ranging from impaired cognitive development to intergenerational cycles of violence. The report highlights that effective prevention requires a comprehensive approach that addresses risk factors at individual, family, and societal levels. This confirms the importance of integrating public health systems into multi-sectoral efforts to end violence against children and of investing in parenting support, early intervention, and trauma-informed care. As emphasized during the Global Ministerial Conference to End Violence Against Children, which Colombia proudly hosted last year, coordinated action is both feasible and urgent. We invite all member states to endorse the Bogota Call to Action, a shared roadmap that reflects the spirit of this report: evidence-based, rights-driven, and center on the well-being of every child. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Embajador Galón. Thank you so much for having joined us and for reiterating the call for countries to join the Bogota Call to Action, which was a very important document that came out of the fantastic event your country hosted in Bogota just a few months ago. We all have fond memories and hope it will continue to live through this document. Colleagues, unfortunately, we're already reaching the end of this important event. Let me thank, first of all, Dinma and Brianna for their very powerful testimonies and all those who participated in the video. Just by themselves, these testimonies are strong enough to push us into action. But today we managed to complement the personal testimonies with strong evidence that corporal punishment of children is bad for their health, it has long-term mental health and physical consequences, and it doesn't change their behavior. The intended outcome is just not there. We need to replace it with positive disciplining practices, and this is the main message. We've heard violence against children and corporal punishment in particular is an important public health issue. But we've also seen that this event was joined by a vice president of Costa Rica, by ambassadors from Colombia just now, but also Thailand and Finland, Costa Rica at the ministerial level. This is clearly a political issue, getting traction, getting more support. So thanks to all of you for joining. I hope this was a milestone event and we'll look back to this as an event that catalyzed action. The next milestone event, as you've heard, is probably going to be a World Health Assembly resolution. This is a first ever report, but we'll also have a first ever World Health Assembly resolution. So a call to all of you, if you're a member state or if you're a civil society expert or an academic, please make sure your government support this movement, which is being led by Kenya and Costa Rica, but already joined by other member states. We can do better for the children of the world. We can make sure that in a few years, we're well above the 67 countries who've already banned, and in the more than 100 countries have done so. Thank you to all. Have a wonderful day. Looking forward to continue the discussions. Bye-bye.